Hello and welcome to Westfield High School, home of the Indianapolis AlleyCats today, as they have their playoff home opener against the Minnesota Windchill. My name is Zach Mabry, and joining me in the booth today is Joey Carey. Joey, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. It's been a long weekend of travel for me. I was out in Cincinnati yesterday hoping to catch some semifinals action at the World Ultimate Club Championships, and then I was up in Chicago for a machine practice this morning. So.
Yeah, long weekend for you, for sure.
Yep.
Worlds, I was there on Wednesday, and they concluded today. 3 wins by United States teams. San Francisco Revolver takes it in the men's division. In the women's division, we have Seattle Riot. And in mixed, who ended up coming out on top?
I believe it was BFG with the victory.
So two Worlds wins for Seattle.
Yep.
3 Worlds wins for the United States West Coast.
Yep.
So, yeah, what an exciting week it was. Now that we're kind of getting over the excitement of Worlds, just in time for Indianapolis AlleyCats excitement, right?
Yeah, it's been a wild week of Ultimate, and especially for the Midwest going into the weekend. We've had some inclement weather, a lot of storms rolling through the area. It's been raining here in Indy most of the day, but it looks like skies have cleared just in time. The sun's kind of trying to come out. Wind's still whipping around, but we're ready for some action.
Yeah, it does look. It looks like it's going to be a great night tonight. Weather's definitely cleared up. And, you know, this is basically the second end of a doubleheader between the Indianapolis AlleyCats and the Minnesota Windchill. We took on the Windchill in the final game of last week, or of the regular season last week. What differences do we have between the team last week and the team this week?
Well, I think first of all, needs to be mentioned that for the AlleyCats, this is the first home game they will have played outside since April. I think that's a big thing to consider as we go on into this evening. They've been playing indoor games for the past 5, 6 maybe home games. Now they're outdoor for their playoff game. It's going to be quite the difference. It's pretty windy today.
Yeah, a story to watch for sure is how well they adjust to the wind. And then in terms of rosters, for the AlleyCats, unfortunate news, Rick Gross is going to be out today, not playing due to a concussion.
Yeah, I was actually, I've been participating in practices with the Cats throughout the rest of the regular season, and on Tuesday he sustained a concussion, went up for a disc, came down awkwardly, bumped his head. Unfortunate turn of events for the AlleyCats. He's been their star player pretty much all season, their leading MVP candidate. To not have him for their first home playoff game since the 2012 inaugural season is sort of crushing. So we'll see how they respond without him.
Yeah, for sure. But it's kind of been the story of the AlleyCats this year that we see new players stepping up again and again. Maybe someone new steps up tonight. We'll see some new faces on O-line. Keenan Plu's missing as well. So we'll have two pieces of shoes being filled this weekend.
Yeah, so the Cats are poised to sort of become a faceless army of sorts tonight. And that's what's going to have to happen if they're going to get it done and come away with the victory and into the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And then for the Minnesota Windchill, they have some players they didn't have last weekend.
Yeah, they've really tooled up this week. You can really throw out last week's regular season game. There's really nothing to take away from that game. They were missing a lot of key pieces, pretty much an entire starting line of players. Ryan Oscar, number 1, he's available. He's here ready to go. We have Jason Cheetah, who was out. He's playing with the New Zealand club team Wildcats for Worlds, but being the end of Worlds, he's back in action with the Windchill tonight, and he's a primary handler, mainly for the O-line, so we're going to see him doing a lot of heavy lifting for them.
Yeah, I know that last week Ryan Osgar was missing, but we saw Josh Klain step up and play huge. Klain and Osgar together in the backfield, that's going to be a treat to watch tonight.
Yeah, the Cats' D-line handlers are going to have a tough time getting the disc out of the hands of those 2 players, and a healthy Josh Klain is lethal in the backfield, especially with his deep throws. He has a very quick trigger, and he really drives the disc downfield, puts a lot of power behind his throws.
Yeah, he's definitely someone to watch out for. Well, what do you think we'll see out of the AlleyCats defense to slow that down tonight?
I think you're going to see a couple different defensive looks they've been working on in practice but haven't yet employed in a regular season game. They've been waiting. They didn't want to be filmed using those defensive sets, so they're going to whip out some jump looks today that we haven't seen before.
All right. And as the AlleyCats wrap up their lineup, we're going to take a quick break. You are watching the Minnesota Wind Chill versus the Indianapolis AlleyCats on UniversePointProductions.com, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's broadcast is presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Find your local Marion County agent at infarmbureau.com. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood. Today's broadcast is also brought to you in part by Serling Brewing Company, a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Enjoy responsibly. Get Surly. Incrediplex, an Indianapolis-based 4-acre world-class indoor sports, entertainment, and events center. Layout Ultimate, the most durable ultimate gloves. Layout Ultimate, what the pros wear. And the Indianapolis AlleyCats.
You must be crazy to live here. It's too cold. You go outside in this? Why don't your gloves have fingers? We get these questions a lot. We ask them ourselves when the engine won't turn over or when the dogs won't even go outside. But the fact is, we don't just like it here, we love it here. The weather spends 6 months trying to straight up kill us, but we don't care. You find a rink, or a trail, or a sledding hill. Put on another layer. It'll be fun. We can hit the meat raffle after. Our beer is made for this. Surly, brewed for the North.
With 4 acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is Indianapolis' destination spot for sports, entertainment, and events. Whether it is a day of fun with the kids in the arcade, getting a workout in the fitness center, or getting competitive on our basketball courts, Incrediplex is the place to be. Visit online at Incrediplex.com today to start planning your trip. And we are back. Indianapolis AlleyCats getting ready to take on the Minnesota Wind Chill here for the playoff game. Winner will go on to face the Madison Radicals.
The sleeping giant up in Madison, waiting in the wings, as usual.
Yeah, taking their week off.
Can you remember if they've ever been a 2-seed in the Midwest?
They have never been a 2-seed, not since they've been a team.
Yeah. Storied program.
Only time the Midwest didn't have to go through them was when they didn't exist. So
I miss those years.
Things were so much simpler back then, right?
Indeed, indeed.
All right, we're getting ready to see the inaugural poll. Tom Held.
Tom Held is the original owner of the Indianapolis AlleyCats. He and his brother Tim. Tom was around for the first few years of the AlleyCats and ran into some health issues, took a step back. His Tim's been running the show ever since, but Tom's happy to be here.
There we go with the opening poll. That's an exciting thing every single week to get to see the opening poll. And it's been a lot of great figures in the Indiana Ultimate community every week.
Yeah, it's something new this year, right? That Tim's been doing.
Yeah, it's something new for sure.
Yeah, and just a very honorable thing that he's doing for the community and trying to get more involvement. And it's very much appreciated. The fans really get into it as well.
Yeah, I know that every game that I've been to this year, it's been someone notable, someone that, I've definitely had a personal relationship with at some point. So, and here as we start the game, AlleyCats will be receiving, playing offense. So we're going to see their new look O-line with no Keenan and no Rick right away.
Yep. And last week you saw the new look O-line. Kyle Cox stepped in to fill Keenan's position in the handler spot to sort of anticipate this game. They didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but they knew already that Keenan wouldn't be here, so they were giving Cox the start last week to kind of get some reps.
Yeah, and so today we see Kyle Cox out there, Spencer Loscar, it looks like, Cameron Brock, Levi Jacobs, Keegan North, Samson, and Travis Carpenter. So
yeah, a lot of guys who have had many O-line reps with the AlleyCats. Spencer's been on and off the O-line all year and in previous seasons, and same with Kyle Cox. So everyone's very familiar with each other on the offensive line. Lots of chemistry, lots of years playing together on this line. So I expect a strong performance tonight. I think it's really in the defense's hands for the AlleyCats tonight.
Yeah, defensive pressure will be what's going to win this game tonight if the AlleyCats look to win.
We'll see if they can get some conversions.
Opening pull, it's going to be fielded by Samson, and he centers it to Kyle Cox. Cox with the disc waiting for something to open up. Travis Carpenter gets it underneath. AlleyCats work it down the near sideline.
Levi being patient on the sideline there, looking off a Cameron Brock deep cut. That's not something he's really known to do. Until recent years, Levi's had sort of a hot trigger, but he's really become more conservative as of late.
There we go. Cameron Brock puts up a huck. That's kind of the opposite of what we're used to seeing. Spencer Loskar just unable to come up with it in the end zone.
Yeah, Cameron's usually pretty conservative. He sometimes can have a little bit of an air bounce on both his backhand and his flick. Sometimes gets him into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, it doubles when it's outdoors, right? Dealing with the wind like we have today.
Yeah, and the AlleyCats are really going to have to acclimate themselves quickly.
The pressure on the mark there by Cameron Brock forces the throw into the ground. Cat's going to take over in pretty good position just outside of the red zone here. Kyle Cox with the disc. Puts it out to space for Samson, who gets there. Working the around backhand. Levi Jacobs looking to chase it down. Unable to come up with it just outside of the end zone.
Looks like the weather is already getting to the O-line just a little bit. That throw sails slightly out of bounds.
Yeah, 2 missed throws already for the offense. Struggling in the weather. Levi Jacobs on the mark. Scuba over the top is going to open up the offense. He's hit with a double team right away. Minnesota with the disc on the near sideline. It's number 26, Nick Vogt with the disc. Centers it. Number 21, Cody Wood. Cody Wood, a standout player from University of Minnesota, right? Winchell continue to work down the sideline. Wyatt Meckler with the disc. Trying to find some opening. And I think that's going to be a stall. Pressure mark there from Spencer Loskar is going to force a turnover.
Yeah, that's not very common with Wyatt Meckler. He's a very sure-handed handler out of the University of Minnesota, I believe, and was on the U24 national team that played in Perth this past winter. So maybe not used to that 7-second stall count.
Meckler definitely an excellent player. There we go. Levi Jacobs able to chase down the huck for the opening score of the game.
Getting a little heated down on the field. Levi's fired up about catching a goal. Didn't intend to spike it on the Minnesota player, but unintentionally spiked it at his feet. A little bit contentious.
Happens sometimes, but definitely didn't look like it was intentional by Levi Jacobs.
That Minnesota player took it personally.
Spencer Loskar picks up his assist on the huck. We're going to see our first look at the Indianapolis AlleyCats D-line here.
Looks like we have a fresh Nick Hutton on the line getting ready for the pull. He's been out several weeks, nursing various injuries, but looks like he's rested up and ready to hit the playoffs hard.
Yeah, Nick Hutton playing, that's going to be a big addition. Great to see him back on the field, and hopefully at 100%.
Also good to see both the Henderson brothers on the starting D-line tonight, Alex and Connor.
On the line together. Maybe we'll see some chemistry out of the two. Looks like Josh Klain picking up the disc for Minnesota.
Looks like Jason Cheetah is back in that center handler role for Minnesota.
And that's going to be an overthrow by Minnesota. Nick Hutton gets the D, comes up with one right away. What a way to welcome himself back.
That's already that's what the AlleyCats need. Already some production out of Nick Hutton. They've really missed him on the D-line this year.
Kip Curtis working the disc in the backfield with Alex Hutton. Finds Nick on the far side. Or Alex Henderson, sorry. Finds Nick Hutton on the far sideline. Connor Henderson comes up with it against a bidding defender. Puts up a huck looking for Donovan Triplett, who's going to get it with ease.
Donovan Triplett, usually in the backfield for the AlleyCats D-line, catching a goal. Not something you see very often, but he's fairly speedy, and when he takes off from the handler spot, that's what happens.
Connor Henderson gets the disc there against a bidding defender. When you go for the bid and you don't get it, you leave a wide open throwing lane, and Connor just gets to put it wherever he wants.
And the poise that the D-line showed on that point was remarkable, and I think something to talk about. The AlleyCats have really worked on the fundamentals of their defensive offense, staying stacked in the middle, patient cutting, and it looks like it's paid off early for them.
Yeah, that's going to be a big break here. Getting a break early really does great things for you as the game goes on. Those breaks are sometimes hard to come by.
Looks like Wyatt Meckler, center handler for the Minnesota O-line this point.
Minnesota working it down the sideline. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication out of the AlleyCats defense. Minnesota just outside the red zone with the disc now. Some back and forth play here. Michael Ames guarding the up line. Can't stop Cody Wood.
The Cats had a successful handler switch going strike into the end zone, but they double struck, and it's hard to stop.
That's number 13. With the disc, strikes. They look around, and then a second straight strike cut. That's going to be Wyatt Meckler on the assist.
Yeah. AlleyCats really have to keep an eye on those Minnesota offensive players near the end zone. They're shifty, they're quick, especially in the backfield. You can't lose track of your guy. Wind looks like it's picking up a little bit. You can see the AlleyCats green shorts flapping away on the field down there. They're going into a little bit of a crosswind, headwind, it looks like. It's hard to tell.
It's definitely coming towards us a little bit. We just had some drops sprinkle off the window here. But then you look down there at the flags, and it's going toward the far sideline.
Looks like an unfortunate drop right on the goal line, trying to get the disc off the sideline.
Thomas Eccles picking up the disc on the Minnesota goal line. And that's going to be a quick score. He finds Sam Bubstead. Thomas Eccles, the former standout player from LSU. Got to play against him once in college.
Got to coach again against him once in college.
Yeah. Eccles a great player for sure. Picks up the disc on the goal line. Not much you can do when the opposing offense picks it up on the goal line. Real close mark by Samson. He steps around, and he's able to find Sam Bumstead in the end zone.
Yeah, those are the ones that really hurt, the turnovers in your own red zone. So Minnesota really has a wealth of experienced handlers on their roster. So even when their O-line gets broken, they can still come out and get production from their non-starters, bench players.
Yeah, lots of players that can contribute, lots of players with high-quality D1 experience playing in college ultimate. Lots of Minnesota players, lots of players from University of Minnesota, which is a top-notch program competing for nationals every year. So.
Yeah, Minnesota is essentially the feeder system for the windshield.
What a great feeder system to have, right? Levi Jacobs and Kyle Cox playing with the give and go in the backfield. Jacobs looks upfield. That win gets the disc. Floats above Spencer Lascar. And that's going to be a turnover right back. Back and forth. That wind picked up for a second. That's going to be hard to play against when we have those gusts.
Kyle Cox took a look around, took a pause before picking up that disc. I think that's important for the O-line to calm down after several turns.
Turns back and forth, yeah. And that's going to be we're going to have an injury timeout here after a collision in the downfield space. Travis Carpenter hurting. Samson looks a little bit shaken up.
Just a couple players chasing after the disc, running into the same space.
It gets windy, it floats, things get a bit messy, and collisions are bound to happen. Something to be on the lookout for tonight.
Our select physical therapy trainer, Jason Moffitt, is down there. He's going to take a look at the Minnesota player. The AlleyCats players are tough enough. They can take care of themselves.
Bunch of tough guys out there.
Travis barking orders out there. Looks like they're forcing flick.
It's Cody Wood with the disc. Carpenter on the mark. Works the around break. AlleyCats sneak the double team on the sideline. That double team applies a lot of pressure here on the sideline. Throws going up and around. Cody Wood gets the disc closer to the center of the field.
Seems like the double team is a part of the game plan for the AlleyCats tonight. Being outdoors, having a little more wind advantage, they're going to try to look to double team more frequently.
We've already seen pressure marks on the sideline causing problems for Minnesota. They don't look too confident getting it off the sideline. They do it here, but definitely high stall count situations. We already had the one stall here from when Wyatt Meckler was forced to turn it over. So,
yeah, something that's been a facet of Minnesota wind chill ultimate for the past several years is just inconsistency between rosters and also just between play.
That's going to be a floating throw. Goes over the head of Spencer Loskar. Caught looking the other way. Sails right over his head and into the end zone. That's going to be a second straight break for Minnesota. They take the lead 3-2.
And that's tough. Occasionally, especially against a team like Minnesota, the Cats have been prone to several breaks in a row, and it's been difficult at times for them to stop the bleeding. And that's going to be very important in a game like this, especially with Minnesota's fully loaded roster.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be tough. You don't want to go down early against a team like Minnesota.
So it looks like we have a fresh O-line out for the AlleyCats. Bunch of D-line starters. Peter Carlton, he's been playing with the AlleyCats for a number of years. Has taken a season or two off, but he's back this year. Veteran handler. The Henderson brothers, as well, competent handlers. Donovan Triplett is going to be center handler, backfield, distributing.
After a couple breaks, it's pretty normal to see a team like the AlleyCats come out with a new look O-line. Try and find something that works, something that can get some rhythm going and disrupt what Minnesota has done the last couple of defensive points.
Yeah, that's definitely a coaching decision, something new they've done this year. In past years, they've marched the O-line out several points in a row. If they've gotten several breaks, then they'll take a timeout and still wish to put the O-line back out, but they've been transitioning their D-line out on O a lot more this season.
Donovan Triplett puts up a big throw to Aaron Schwartz, who's not able to come down with it. Two defenders able to sandwich him and get a hold of that one for the D.
Maybe that's a throw that Aaron comes down with indoors. Maybe it doesn't sit. Maybe it blades down. But outside in these windy conditions, it just hangs up a little too long. I will say, though, maybe not the worst thing in the world to at least punt it down into your opponent's red zone.
Yeah, with wind like this, punt and play D, not the worst option in the world, for sure. And maybe that's a strategic decision they have here.
Well, it looks like the wind chill had the same idea.
Peter Carlton picking up the disc quickly for the AlleyCats. Nothing really develops for him. And he's going to send it right back. Finds Cameron Brock. What a great person to just throw it up to.
Yeah, if you're going to punt it, you want that guy catching it.
Kip Curtis ends up with the disc on the sideline. Cat's not able to come down with it. Just sails over the head of Connor Henderson a bit.
Yep, we're not in Grand Park anymore, folks. It's wet and wild out here.
Wind gusting. I'm sure that ground still has moisture. The disc picking it up. There's going to be a put across the field. Kip Curtis gets there, and he's able to kind of get the D.
Both teams just playing huck and play defense. We might see a timeout here pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty ugly offense right now, both ways.
Yeah, tough to watch.
Triplett works the lefty backhand, gets Alex Henderson. Second time I've made a mistake there.
Triplett cutting down field out of the backfield, looking for another deep ball.
And he finds Donovan Triplett, who's able to come down with it. Donovan Triplett with the second goal of the game on the receiving end.
Yeah, two of the Cats' 3 goals from their starting D-line handler.
Peter Carlton with the disc, puts up the hammer. Donovan Triplett able to come down with it.
Yet again, a throw that would have been probably pinpoint indoors, something Peter Carlton is known for, his big crossfield hammers, but outside it's just a different story, different ball game.
Yeah, now we're going to take a look at the D-line featuring Travis Carpenter here.
Travis has been playing a lot of O-line this year. He's been starting on the offensive line. I anticipate we're going to see a lot of crossover onto the D-line for him today, especially in a playoff game, a one-off game, a must-win game.
Yeah, this is a big game. You got to take your stars, and they're going to be tired at the end of this game. They got to play a lot of points here.
And with no Rick Gross and Keenan Plew on the O-line, Travis is going to be a tired boy at the end of this game.
Minnesota with the disc. Colin Ringwood marking. Josh Klain on the near sideline. Handler. Klain clears out that space and opens up the break throw to Sam Bumstead, who puts up a huck. Kind of jump ball situation, and then Ryan Oscar doesn't even have to jump for it.
That was some nice defense by Heath Kalaba, forcing out into the wind. Unfortunately, the disc just doesn't float his way. I would anticipate that might be part of the game plan for the AlleyCats to force the wind chill cutters out and deep, trying to get them to throw away huck attempts.
Looks like we had a travel call there. No score. And now looks like Minnesota might have started early before the whistle there. Hard to tell what's going on right now. Either way, we're going to reset. Charles Weinberg with the disc. Minnesota 10 yards from the end zone.
Mike Ames on the mark. It's good to see him get the start tonight. He's been on and off the active roster. He travels out from Cincinnati, or the Ohio area, with Keegan North, actually. 2 Ohio guys come to play for Indy this year. Ames has been a stalwart of the AlleyCats' defense and offensive line for years.
Yeah, for sure. AlleyCats with a double team on the goal line here. Minnesota puts up a throw, towing the back line. They come down with the goal.
That was rather unfortunate. AlleyCats forced a difficult look, and Windchill just lucked out.
That's going to be number 3, Brian Vanuka of the Windchill, coming down with it, towing the line. Yeah, they force a tough throw there. Sometimes the other team makes plays.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to him. That was great field awareness, able to drag the toe just in bounds.
One thing is consistent. Things change. When they do, your insurance should too. An Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent can review your current policy and check to see if you're paying too much or covered too little. Find your local Marion County agent at infarmbureau.com. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood. And we're back. AlleyCats just received the pull. Kyle Cox gets the centering pass, and he's going to look to huck it on the first throw here.
That is a gorgeous huck.
Puts it up. Cameron Brock comes down with it just outside of the goal line here, and then Cameron Brock finds Levi Jacobs to finish it off.
That's what you get with Kyle Cox on the O-line. He really puts a lot of snap into his flicks and gets a lot of power behind his throws. Something that maybe Keenan Plew wouldn't do as well in a windy condition. Keenan, of course, a great outlet for the O-line. He's always running, always churning. But Cox in the backfield today is going to be able to put a lot of hucks up into the wind, a lot of snap, flat driving throw. And that's a difficult, very tough in these conditions.
I agree. Kyle Cox such a dynamic thrower with his big throw ability, and it really just helps to open up the offense in so many different ways. Opens up a lot of different looks, a lot of dynamic looks that you wouldn't get from other players. And honestly, there aren't many players that can provide that type of dynamic ability. So.
Yeah, and Kyle Cox has been playing at the elite level for going on a decade now, and he played for the defunct Columbus, Ohio club team, Mad Cow. Has been to nationals with them a few times. Handler for their D-line, and he's been playing with the Indy AlleyCats since their inception in 2012.
With Indianapolis Brickyard as well. So, lots of top-level experience on the club scene. AUDL experience with the AlleyCats.
Looks like the Cats are in a bit of a junk right now. A 1-3-3, it looks like. We have a chaser, Aaron Schwartz in the backfield, guarding dump, occasionally marking. Looks like we're still in it.
Yeah, staying in that look right now.
I'm wondering at what point they'll transition into straight person-to-person defense.
They're calling fire now. You can hear the fire calls.
And that was great. Causes a little confusion for Minnesota. Gets them out of their set play. And then there you go.
There you go. Nick Hutton able to come up with a D. That's his second D of the game already. That's the Nick Hutton that we've missed the last few weeks. He comes up with the layout D. Donovan Triplett picks up the disc.
And I'd say that's game plan executed to perfection.
Yeah. And turnover right away as the wind catches the disc. Bit of a swirling wind, it seems like. Throws going everywhere in both directions. Schwartz almost gets the D there.
Yeah, the flags to our left looks like they're running across the field from left of your screen to the right of your screen, but also going towards the stands. But on the field, it looks like the disc is affected in a different way. So, yeah, I agree. The wind is a little swirly.
Well, that'll happen when you're in a big stadium like this. The wind will go around. Get pushed all over the place, and there you see the disc bounce way up into the air. Donovan Triplett comes up with a D.
Triplett is really marking all over that end zone tonight. 1D, 2 goals. Should just spray paint his name over Westfield.
Yeah, that's the Triplett zone. Alex Henderson takes off deep, but unable to get a throw off to him in this wind.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Coach Leonard call a timeout here, though he's been more trusting in his D-line offense than usual this year.
Time running out here in the quarter. Alex Henderson tries to get it.
Just as I say that.
And it looks like there's going to be a call on the field. Looks like the defender might have bit through Henderson's back a bit. And the refs agree.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of body contact, but from here it looked like a decent bid. Looks like they're talking about it. Oh, and it looked like it overturned integrity call.
Great call there by Henderson. I agree, that was definitely a borderline call. Henderson seems to think so as well, and he uses his integrity rule and takes it back.
We have 8 seconds left in the quarter, so we'll see if the AlleyCats can get a stop here.
That throw is going to sail right out of bounds, and Cat's going to take a timeout and get the disc here on the goal line with 3 seconds to go, it looks like.
Looks like it never came in, so it's going to be on the cone, on the pylon. This would be big if the AlleyCats can get this.
And yeah, take a small lead going into the end of the first quarter. This will put the game back on serve.
After a shaky start, this would be a big momentum boost.
Cats looking. Put up a scoober. Alex Henderson comes down with it.
Triplett with a gutsy scoober.
Donovan Triplett really putting a name up for himself this first quarter.
That's his 4th stat of the quarter. 1 assist, 2 goals, 1 block.
Nothing really developing here, and he just puts up a scoober. Alex Henderson comes down, Alex Henderson comes down with it.
And Alex knew what was coming. Both Triplett and Alex Henderson are former Center Grove players. Center Grove High School in Greenwood, Indiana. The top high school program in the state of Indiana. It's been almost a feeder system of sorts for this AlleyCats team for a number of years.
Yeah.
Many alumni on the team.
Yeah, a handful of Center Grove alumni on the team.
More than a handful.
Yeah.
Like half the team.
Yeah.
All right, I'm exaggerating.
It's real close, though.
Real close.
Nick Hutton with the pull. Cats with their big lineup in. Travis Carpenter and Cameron Brock deep.
Kip Curtis and Carlton with the rundown. They're going to put on a double team here.
And that's going to be the end of the first quarter as the throw goes up.
If you want anyone putting up a throw, it's Josh Klain, but it can't quite get there.
Yeah, not quite far enough. He tries to mack it into the end zone. Doesn't quite happen.
It was a valiant effort, but just a little short.
AlleyCats are going to take a 5-4 lead, be back on serve, leading the Minnesota Wind Chill here in the playoffs.
I say that's a win for the AlleyCats to be up by 1 at the end of the first quarter. They've had some tough losses to the Wind Chill over recent years. A lot of really close losses, a lot of going down early in games. So to be up early is pretty crucial to the success of their game.
Yeah. We'll take a quick break here at the end of the first quarter. You're watching the Minnesota Wind Chill versus the Indianapolis AlleyCats on UniversePointProductions.com, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's broadcast is presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Find your local Marion County agent at infarmbureau.com. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood. Today's broadcast is also brought to you in part by Serling Brewing Company, a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Enjoy responsibly. Get Surly. Incrediplex, an Indianapolis-based 4-acre world-class indoor sports, entertainment, and events center. Layout Ultimate, the most durable ultimate gloves. Layout Ultimate, what the pros wear. And the Indianapolis AlleyCats.
You must be crazy to live here. It's too cold. You go outside in this? Why don't your gloves have fingers? We get these questions a lot. We ask them ourselves when the engine won't turn over or when the dogs won't even go outside. But the fact is, we don't just like it here, we love it here. The weather spends 6 months trying to straight up kill us, but we don't care. We find a rink or a trail or a sledding hill. Put on another layer. It'll be fun. We can hit the meat raffle after. Our beer is made for this. Surly, brewed for the North.
With 4 acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is Indianapolis' destination spot for sports, entertainment, and events. Whether it is a day of fun with the kids in the arcade, getting a workout in the fitness center, or getting competitive on our basketball courts, Incrediplex is the place to be. Visit online at incrediplex.com today to start planning your trip. And we are back, entering the second quarter here for the Indianapolis AlleyCats. They lead the Minnesota Wind Chill 5-4. I want to give a quick shout out to Incrediplex Indianapolis on the east side, showing the game on their big screen. Incrediplex, 4 acres of indoor fun, also my workplace. Perfect for sports, events, entertainment, really anything you could want.
It's a little self-serving, don't you think, giving a shout-out to your employer? You trying to get a pay raise?
Not a pay raise, just making sure that the AlleyCats can get a live stream going. Thanking our loyal fans and supporters. Incrediplex, one of the sponsors of today's game. Couldn't have done it without them.
Looks like the AlleyCats come out with a roller pole. Skies are darkening here in Westfield, Indiana. I think it's drizzling a little out there. We're seeing some raindrops come across our windows. Probably see a double team here right off the bat.
I think that that's going to be a staple of the defense today. Throw a roller pole and set up that sideline double team. So tough to get out of unless you have a crazy high release backhand in the upwind.
Yeah, definitely part of the AlleyCats' defensive game plan, and especially with Nick Hutton on the line, polling. He's really good at those roller poles. Drives them pretty deep down the field, and still out of bounds.
Minnesota going in what has been the more upwind direction this game, but they work it pretty easily. They escape that initial double team. They get some momentum going. AlleyCats stuck chasing, and they're able to roll right down the field.
Maybe a little too much of a good thing with the double team. Tried it one too many times, and the AlleyCats got burned strike.
Yeah, Minnesota comes out rolling. Just quick movement. Cats never able to catch up. That's going to be a push pass for a score. The most durable ultimate gloves. Layout gloves provide the ultimate grip for your game. Layout Ultimate, what the pros wear.
Rain's really coming down here. It's at an angle too, so wind is gusting, rain is coming. It's getting wet and wild here in Westfield.
Yeah, rain coming in almost sideways.
You can see Samson's hair whipping on the field as he sets the stack.
Kyle Cox with the disc, and it is pouring here at Westfield.
Let's see if the AlleyCats can adjust.
Cameron Brock gets the disc, puts it up to Levi Jacobs, who's able to come down with it.
Levi again holsters a flick huck looking deep at Spencer and then hits him on the under. That's great patience, but the wind just whips it
right over his head.
Right over the hands of Spencer Loskar. He's not able to come down with it. That's a heavy wind.
That's real tough. Levi looks like he's playing with no glove on his dominant hand. Maybe he needs to put on a pair of layout gloves and adjust to the weather.
Layout gloves will definitely help. They help in all circumstances.
Looks like Greg Cousins could use a pair himself.
That's going to be a turnover on the goal line. Kyle Cox able to find Sam Sohn in the end zone. After a turnover, AlleyCats able to hold on and score.
That's what the Cats need to do tonight. They need to take advantage of turnovers by the wind chill. They need to not cough it back up, so really possess the disc and value those possessions.
That wind, a big factor on that point. Forces the AlleyCats turnover, but Minnesota gives it right back.
Looks like the rain has stopped momentarily. It comes and goes. We're getting We've been having storms roll through the Midwest all weekend long. So we'll see if it comes back.
Yeah, I worked outside all day today, and the rain was coming in 20, 30-minute spurts. And, hard rains, and then it's gone, and sun comes out sometimes.
John Wenger, known for his massive poles, only gets it to go about 40, 45 yards downfield before it flies out of bounds. So weather is really playing a factor in this game early.
Wind seems to have shifted here, too. That was the downwind direction in the first quarter, and now it's the upwind.
Yeah, wind is swirling.
Minnesota working the disc. Lots of short throws here is going to be what Minnesota is looking for. Short throws back and forth. Don't give the wind the chance to affect it. Lots of snap on those backhands. Keep that disc spinning pretty.
Yeah. Looks like the AlleyCats were poaching the lanes early, trying to prevent set plays by the wind chill. That's probably also a game plan adjustment.
Minnesota just outside of the end zone. Able to work it back and forth, and they score.
Just patient offense by the wind chill. If the AlleyCats are going to maintain their lead this game, they need to prevent those easy strike passes down the line. Those are passes that are going to be lethal in this game. Those 10-yard passes in the strike lane, force side. With the wind whipping, rain driving, deeper throws, deeper in cuts are going to be harder to hit, so those handler reset passes are really going to be a deciding factor in this game.
Yeah, for sure. AlleyCats getting ready to receive.
Travis calling a set play. Looks like Winchill come out with a roller pole of their own.
They're going to use the same strategy with the double team? No, it doesn't go to the sideline.
Samson tries to knock it down, gets a few fortuitous yards out of that.
AlleyCats working it down the near sideline. Keegan North with the disc.
He's really been a great sure-handed cutter for the AlleyCats O-line. He's really a utility player. Can run the show in the backfield, but also has a great stride, good speed, and can really stretch the field downfield.
He gets open on that inside throw. Kyle Cox hits him with a lefty backhand. Up the field to Carpenter. Keegan North now running the show in the backfield for sure. Spencer Loskar with the disc. Puts it out in front of Cameron Brock, who's tripped up. And it looks like refs are going to call a foul there on the goal line.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy foul call to make. Unintentional, but still a foul. Cameron probably would have caught that for a goal otherwise.
Feet get tangled up, and that's definitely a foul on the defense. Cameron Brock will take the disc just outside of the end zone.
I'm expecting a low backhand here for a score.
Low backhand it is. Around to the outside. You got the throw right.
Yeah, it just hung up a little too much. Kyle Cox couldn't get up for it. Had a Minnesota wind chill defender right on his back. That's a tough play to make.
Great pressure defense in the end zone. Stops two reset cuts. Travis Carpenter is able to come up with an easy defense.
He immediately looks to bounce it off the sideline. That's also something that the Cats have really been working on this season, trying to keep the disc in the middle of the field.
Samson with the disc, and he puts one up. Levi Jacobs able to come down with it. That's his third goal of the game for Levi.
Levi's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting for the offensive line, especially downfield. He's a young player. He's fast. He's going to be having he has his work cut out for him without Keenan, Plew on the field, and without Rick. He's going to be one of their primary cutters. So he needs to score a lot of goals tonight for them to pull this off, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And just like you said, to look out for at the beginning of the game, faceless army for the AlleyCats. 7 different players have assists on 7 different goals.
That's what they need.
Nick Hutton here on the pull. Not going with the roller strategy this time. AlleyCats push down. Alex Henderson on the mark. And the sun is out here at Westfield. You can see a bit of a rainbow in the background.
Oh, wow. Gorgeous. It's a gorgeous evening here in Westfield. Nick Hutton almost gets the layout block.
And then the throw goes up. Kip Curtis gets it. And then Connor Henderson finishes it off.
That's just great team defense.
You know, share that D with your friend.
It's a rainbow fish of a D.
Connor Henderson and Donovan Triplett working the disc in the backfield. Got to get it out of their own end zone here. Nothing developing in the upfield space, and that's going to be a turnover.
Looks like just a miscommunication. Maybe it came off of Donovan's hand, a little wonky, and wind chill punish. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Brian Vanuka gets there. Vanuka with the run through D. After it comes off Donovan's hands, and then he finds Josh Klein in the end zone.
Yeah, it looked like Peter Carlton maybe stopped his in cut a little too soon. Triplett maybe tried to pull it back, but it was just too little too late.
Tough situation there. AlleyCats stuck in the end zone. Not really able to get anything going downfield. Not much you can do there, and that's going to be a turnover for the AlleyCats.
Yeah, I'm wondering at what point Coach Eric Leonard might begin to call more timeouts for the defensive line when they get blocked in order to march the O-line back out there, just to have some more sure-handed guys try to punch in breaks.
AlleyCats' first throw is going to go up in the air, and that's going to be an immediate turnover. AlleyCats running around trying to find something on defense. Bit of a scramble mode here. Minnesota working the disc back and forth. Let's see if the AlleyCats can get some ground.
Looks like everyone's found a person to guard. Took a few passes, though. This is going to be a momentum shift if Winchell can score this.
Just outside of the end zone. Minnesota with the disc. Wyatt Meckler. Easy around backhand.
Yeah, you'd expect Wyatt to put that in. On the goal line, veteran handler for University of Minnesota, U24 national player. No surprise there. Looks like the AlleyCats O-line is going to take their time marching back to the opposite end zone, and they're going to take another crack at a goal.
Surly Brewing Company is a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Noted for their highly rated and well-reviewed beers, Surly offers over-the-top flavors and body, which comes from high-quality, unique raw materials, not filtering, and astonishingly careful beer processing. Find out more at surlybrewing.com. Enjoy reasonably, get Surly. And we're back. Minnesota putting up the pull. It's going to be a big pull. Hangs for a bit, and hangs for so long, Minnesota's able to get down there before the disc even hits the ground.
Cox with a fantastic around break in the wind. That's something that he really brings to the O-line, the ability to break the mark even in weather like this.
Eventually it finds Keegan North, who puts it up to Travis Carpenter. Carpenter deep, just outside the end zone. With the disc, cheeky little backhand's going to find Cameron Brock in the end zone.
That's great poise by Travis Carpenter on the goal line. You had a streaking Levi Jacobs, really wanted to score that goal, but Travis held off pulling the trigger. There's a lot of traffic in the area, and he waited for an easier option.
Probably could have thrown that hammer, but let's wait and take that easy option.
Yeah, just a smart veteran play.
A goal's a goal. No need for style points here, right?
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Let's wait till end of half or end of the game.
There we go.
We have the Winchell O-line back on the field. Josh Klain, Jason Cheetah. We'll see what they can do going into a weird swirly wind.
A weird swirly wind for sure. You can see kind of the impact of the wind. On the far side, a couple of the signs have fallen over. Throws going everywhere.
Center passes going high.
Centering pass supposed to be the easy one.
It's supposed to be. The wind is the star of the show so far tonight.
That's going to be our all-star defender.
Let's hope not.
Minnesota taking the disc from the brick mark.
Hopefully Nick Hutton can put on a show for us
And that's going to
tonight.
be a turnover on a centering pass. Opening pass. Reset just bounces right off his chest. Probably just came in with a little more zip than he was ready for.
And just like I thought, Eric Leonard's using those timeouts to put the O-line back on, try to solidify the break.
Yeah, this is a chance to solidify the break, put the game back in your hands, and regain the lead.
Yeah. Something that Eric Leonard has been doing less of this season has been putting the O-line on for break opportunities. He's been more trusting of the D-line, and it's paid off during the regular season, but this is a really important game. The offensive line has shown a very high conversion rate all season long. There's a lot of trust in all these O-line guys, so Coach Leonard is confident in both lines, but especially in the O-line, to punch this in for a break.
With 4 acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is Indianapolis' destination spot for sports, entertainment, and events. Whether it is a day of fun with the kids in the arcade, getting a workout in the fitness center, or getting competitive on our basketball courts, Incrediplex is the place to be. Visit online at Incrediplex.com today to start planning your trip. All right, we're back. AlleyCats O-line out on the field. Kyle Cox is going to be the one to pick up the disc here. Probably 17 or so yards to the end zone. It's kind of a rough estimate there, 17 and a half with where Kyle Cox is standing. AlleyCats going to look to set something up here. Vertical stack angled across the field. Levi Jacobs in the front, going to work and try and get open against the Minnesota defender. Unable to. Travis Carpenter works from the backfield, kind of curling around. Gets open, and that disc takes a weird bounce in the air. And Samson is not able to hold on to it.
Yeah, just as he was going for the catch, it took a weird upturn and just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, and then a weird floating disc for Minnesota. Got to fall to the ground to secure it.
And looks like Minnesota's going to call a timeout of their own to put their O-line back on. Winchiller hyped on the D-line for this hold opportunity, by the way.
Wind really sending that disc everywhere right now. It has not been a pretty game so far for either offense.
No, certainly not. I think the Winchell are fortunate that the disc hung up and the AUDL field is, 53 yards wide? On a club field, that'd be out of bounds, AlleyCats disc.
Club field, that might have been on the next field.
Definitely. That's what Friday of Worlds looked like. Or no. Saturday morning. I went all the way out to Cincinnati to catch the semifinals. Caught the first half of the semis, and then 3 lightning delays later, they canceled. I started driving back, and then they decided to have all the games indoors. I was pretty upset. Wish I would have stayed.
I imagine you would be. I made that drive on Wednesday. 2 hours there, 2 hours back. I mean, we live 3 houses from each other, so I know your drive was the same.
Why didn't we coordinate? We could have carpooled or taken off work on the same day.
Hey, Ultiworld tells me when to come, and then I come.
You and your employers.
Wednesday it was. AlleyCats in the backfield, or trying to defend Minnesota in the backfield. Josh Klain with the disc.
If Cats are going to come out and put a double team on, it needs to be more aggressive than that. Peter Carlton just let off a really easy around pass.
After some throws, there's some turnover. Josh Klain unable to get to it.
And we see Travis on the D-line.
Peter Carlton gets the disc, and he's going to put up a big backhand huck. Looking for Kip Curtis. Bodies out Brian Vanuka and comes down with it.
Man, and that is a veteran play from a young player. Kip Curtis has really been on fire this season for the AlleyCats. It's been his coming out party of sorts.
Yeah, disc kind of hangs in the air for a moment. Kip Curtis waits, gets his body on Brian Vanuka, boxes him out a bit, and then comes down with it in the end zone.
Kip out of the University of Indiana. He's always been fast. He's always been athletic, but now that he's gained more experience, his throwing has improved. He's really been a defensive stalwart for the AlleyCats, and they're happy to have him.
He's been one of my biggest surprises this season. Didn't expect a ton out of him when we came into the season, but he's put up great showings time and time again.
And looks like he's going to run it back for another D point.
Hey, when you do something great, you get a second turn, right?
AlleyCats got done with a long, exhausting practice a couple weeks ago, and Kip was the only guy running 400s around the track. So he has endurance. He has stamina.
Let's just leave him in all game then.
Let
him keep going.
I like that idea.
Yeah, me too. AlleyCats with a bit of a junk look on defense.
This is something new it looks like they worked on. So double team with a bracket. Looks like they're going to stay in it. And I think that middle pass is something they're okay with letting off. They're trying to upset the pull play, the initial play, which they did successfully, and now they're in person-to-person.
Yeah, you successfully knock off that pull play, knock off some rhythm from that Minnesota offense. Now you got a chance to get a D, force a silly mistake. Lots of silly mistakes have happened already today, and there's another.
Yeah, just passed a little behind Wyatt Meckler. He couldn't one-hand it. It's slippery, it's windy, and now the Cats get another chance to break.
Donovan Triplett with the disc, and he's going to turn it over right away.
Looks like Donovan needs a pair of layout gloves himself. And then Winchell punish right away. Wyatt throwing for a goal.
Really quickly punish him.
Yeah, and that's something that can happen if the Cats are going to pull this one out. They need to preserve the disc when they get those break opportunities.
Colin Berry on the receiving end there for Minnesota. Just going to pick it up. Wyatt Meckler puts up a forehand huck right away.
Looks like maybe a little confusion from the AlleyCats D players. They didn't realize that no one was back near the end zone and just let a guy loose.
Those are goals you can't give up in a game like this. You can't give up the easy ones. Every goal this game has been tough to come by, so you can't give up the easy ones.
Looks like the roller pole is going to be really popular all night long.
It's hard to put it far in this win, so roller's the way to go. Levi Jacobs gets the disc, and he puts up the huck this time.
It was a decent look. Cameron Brock had steps, but just maybe a little too bladey of a forehand. Needs to flatten it out, get it on a shelf.
Maybe that was the Grand Park forehand.
Maybe so. Yeah, Levi's been dropping dimes at Grand Park all season long, but in these windy conditions, it's a different story.
AlleyCats take over after Minnesota huck goes over the hands.
Oof.
And then Cameron Brock puts a nice throw out there. Levi Jacobs just can't quite chase it down.
Yeah, that was a beautiful low release, just a little too spicy for Levi. And Levi's fast, so that throw was coming in hot.
It's going to be a round break to Thomas Eccles, who continues it to the near sideline. And that's going to be a turnover right away. Turnovers back and forth. This is not a pretty game of ultimate.
No, not your typical AlleyCats offensive performance, but, if it gets the job done at the end of the day,
Yeah, at the end of the day, AlleyCats are still up a point. Kyle Cox puts a throw into the end zone. Samson comes up with it. Focuses against a bidding defender.
Yeah, Sam able to come down with that goal. Repenting for the earlier drop. Not necessarily his fault. That was a weird throw to catch earlier, but he's glad to have a goal.
Yeah, for sure. Glad to have a goal there. That's his second goal of the game.
Cats are still up by 1, holding strong, maintaining their 1-point lead.
It's been back and forth, and I think pretty late in the second quarter, the AlleyCats are not pleased with their possession, not pleased with their offensive performance necessarily, but definitely pleased with how they're hanging around in this game. Like I said, historically, they've had some lapses against Minnesota, and they've gone down early in games against a healthy, full Minnesota roster. And to be up in a game like this, I think is pretty important to them.
Yeah, I agree for sure. For the AlleyCats, this hasn't been a good game. They haven't played well. And to still be on top, you have to consider this first half so far a win.
Definitely agreed.
Michael Ames marking on Josh Klain. Far sideline. They come back to the middle. To the near sideline. Ryan Osgar with the disc. Standout from Minnesota.
I'd really like to see John Jones, with his speed and athleticism, challenge those four-side passes a little more.
Minnesota, a bit too casual with the disc just outside of the goal line.
Ooh, and that's a tough foul. That's a really tough foul. Probably would have been a turnover without any body contact, but Colton Steiner trying to go for the D himself and just creates a little too much contact.
And that looks like a second integrity call here in the game. I think Colton called that on himself.
Looks like it, yeah.
I don't think the referees called that.
Definitely commendable, but unfortunate. Looks like the disc was floating out of bounds otherwise.
Yeah, just kind of casual for Minnesota. They get it on their own goal line, and they put it in real quick. Charles Weinberg finds Ryan Osgar in the end zone.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow. I was saying, though, earlier, I'd like to see John Jones challenge those four-side passes a little more. He has great straight-line speed, and I think he's letting off those four-side passes just a little too easily, so I'd really like him to play tighter.
Yeah, it would be great to see him challenge those.
Especially in these windy conditions.
Yeah, with the wind, the disc could hang up at any time. I mean, you got to go and just challenge it. Anything can happen here.
Yeah, even within a step or two, any disc up in the air is deable.
AlleyCats O-line out here on the field this time. Kyle Cox is going to receive the pull. Travis Carpenter jukes back and forth, gets the disc in the middle of the field. Nice easy throw to Levi Jacobs. Levi puts a throw upfield, finds Keegan North.
One of the things that makes Keegan so dangerous is that he has great line speed. He's a taller player, but he also has some of the best throws on the team, so he can drive deep. People respect him when he drives deep, but then he can come under for a 15-yard in cut and then have dynamic throws to continue downfield.
Oh, great grab by Kyle Cox to save that play on the Levi Jacobs scuba attempt. Keegan North with the disc. Puts it just a bit outside. Samson not able to come down with it or even really make a play on it.
And once again, the wind takes it out of that corner. That's exactly where the wind is blowing to. It's left to right towards that corner of the end zone.
Minnesota puts up a huck. Way up in the air, bouncing all around.
The wind doesn't play favorites, as the wind chill just found out.
That's going to go, that almost went into the stands.
I feel a little too far away from the stands this week. I miss the Grand Park crowd. You can hear everything that's said from the fans. You're really close to the players on the field. I miss that intimate atmosphere.
Yeah, just so intimate at Grand Park.
Miss being able to chat up the fans between breaks.
Travis Carpenter with a sliding catch. Puts one over the top. Levi Jacobs, one-handed grab.
That's a really...
Cameron Brock almost intercepted that.
Such a nice grab. And I think that was with his glove hand.
Glove hand.
We'll check the replay. Man, if that Minnesota player guarding Cameron Brock had looked up, he may have been able to get a hand on that disc.
Yeah, Cameron Brock almost intercepts that. Oh, that's non-glove hand.
That's his bare hand. Remarkable.
Bare hand.
What a catch.
Imagine what he could do with a layout glove on that hand.
Imagine.
Maybe he would have gotten into the end zone. Somehow.
So with 49 seconds left in the half, it'd be really great if the AlleyCats could maybe get a roll pull out of bounds, set a double team right away, and get a quick turnover, punch it in. I'd say that'd be a prime opportunity for Coach Eric to call timeout, march the O-line out, make something of this
maybe last point of the half.
At the very least, you want to get out of this quarter without giving up another score. You go into halftime up a point. With the way things have been today, you've got to be extremely happy.
If the wind chill get a quick score, AlleyCats would have an opportunity to march back down and retaliate. So,
yeah. Oh, that's a big opportunity. Alex Henderson not able to get it. And then that's going to be a throwaway. Henderson puts on the pressure. Looks like AlleyCats are taking a timeout right now.
Looks like we're maybe putting a little more time on the clock. AlleyCats are thankful for that. And Donovan Triplett being told by Coach Leonard to take timeout, and he does. Man, Alex was really close to that disc. It looks like he got there, but his hand was just a little north of where the disc ended up. Maybe the wind bounced it and he couldn't quite connect, but ended up in a turnover regardless.
Huge bid there by Alex. Sometimes that pressure is just enough to scare the offensive player into throwing a turnover.
Yeah, it's really great to have Alex starting on the defensive line this year. He's such an athletic presence. He tried out for the U20 national team. Just barely missed out on the team. A lot of people in the area and outside the area think he should have made it. Could have had a shot at making it for whatever reason he didn't. But definitely one of the country's top high school players, top high school handlers. So AlleyCats are happy to have him making big plays for the D-line this year.
Yeah, and I was at high school nationals. I got to see Alex Henderson compete against some of the top high school programs in the country there. And, he held his own with every single player he matched up with. He won a lot of those matchups. And, I think that he would have been deserving of that last spot on the U20 team. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, but I think that makes him hungrier as a player. I'm excited for his career going forward as he goes to IU next year, as he continues to grow with the Cats.
Me
as
too.
He grows with Brickyard this summer.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be an anchor of that Indiana University team for years to come. So watch out, Midwest. Indiana University is a team on the rise.
Yeah, rising up in the Great Lakes. They're going to be a team to look out for.
Cox gets a strike pass off the line, but then immediately D'd up. Yeah. Levi Jacobs didn't see that poaching handler defender.
Just a big casual on the sideline by Levi. With the wind this high, you just don't have an opportunity to be casual like that.
That's an unfortunate break for the AlleyCats. They were, put the O-line back out there. They were excited for a break opportunity, and now wind chill are on the doorstep going downwind.
Minnesota's going to take their timeout and probably bring out their O-line.
Cats are walking to the sideline. Samson scratching his head. They wish they could have that back.
Yeah. It was the last timeout of the half here. So we'll go through this last 16 seconds uninterrupted, hopefully, and call it a first half.
I don't know about you, but I'm hoping for an interruption via turnover.
Well, that'd be the only kind of interruption I want to see.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Big time goal line stand here coming for the AlleyCats out of this timeout. Looks like they're just going to put a strong line out there, judging by who's still staying on the field.
I'm wondering if we'll see an immediate double team to prevent just a cheeky inside goal pass, or at least a lane poach initially, and then tight person defense. We'll see what the AlleyCats decide to do here.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to march Josh Klain up to pick up the disc. Jason Cheetah, the first reset handler. Two of their primary handlers, guys they really trust on the Minnesota O-line.
The speedy Cody Wood at the front of the stack for Minnesota.
Looks like they might isolate Cheetah here. I hope Donovan's up to the task.
Yep, you're right. Cheetah. Isolated in space. Great defense by Donovan.
That's great pressure. Clock stops when it goes out of bounds, it looks like. Donovan really poised handler reset defense. Cheetah tried to shake him, tried a few different moves, and Donovan just stayed right there with him.
it's really easy as a handler defender to jump the backfield after the initial strike cut is taken away. Travis Carpenter just kind of has to throw it away there. 3 seconds to go, 2 seconds. That's going to be a buzzer beater thrown up.
Jump ball.
Travis Carpenter back there. Spencer Loskar comes up with a D.
All right. And the Cats escape the second quarter with a 1-point lead. Again, not the prettiest half of Ultimate we've seen here in Indianapolis, but a win nonetheless. I think the AlleyCats at this point will take it, and they're excited to be up in this game so far.
AlleyCats leading the wind chill as we go into halftime. 11-10.
Eric Leonard, coach on the field, so excited he throws his hat off.
And with that, we'll take a quick break. You are watching the Minnesota Wind Chill versus the Indianapolis AlleyCats on UniversePointProductions.com, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's broadcast is presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Find your local Marion County agent at informbureau.com. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood. Today's broadcast is also brought to you in part by Serling Brewing Company, a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Enjoy responsibly. Get Surly. Incrediplex, an Indianapolis-based 4-acre world-class indoor sports, entertainment, and events center. Layout Ultimate, the most durable ultimate gloves. Layout Ultimate, what the pros wear. And the Indianapolis AlleyCats.
You must be crazy to live here. It's too cold. You go outside in this? Why don't your gloves have fingers? We get these questions a lot. We ask them ourselves when the engine won't turn over or when the dogs won't even go outside. But the fact is, we don't just like it here, we love it here. The weather spends 6 months trying to straight up kill us, but we don't care. We find a rink or a trail or a sledding hill. Put on another layer. It'll be fun. We can hit the meat raffle after. Our beer is made for this. Surly, brewed for the North.
With 4 acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is Indianapolis' destination spot for sports, entertainment, and events. Whether it is a day of fun with the kids in the arcade, getting a workout in the fitness center, or getting competitive on our basketball courts, Incrediplex is the place to be. Visit online at Incrediplex.com today to start planning your trip.
National team that played in Perth this past winter, so maybe not used to that 7-second stall count.
Meckler, definitely an excellent player. There we go, Levi Jacobs able to chase down, or Alex Henderson, sorry. Finds Nick Hutton on the far sideline. Connor Henderson comes up with it against a bidding defender. Puts up a huck looking for Donovan Triplett, who's going to get it with ease. Minnesota just outside the red zone with the disc now. Some back and forth play here. Michael Ames guarding the up line. Can't stop Cody Wood.
Looks like an unfortunate drop right on the goal line, trying to get the disc off the sideline.
Thomas Eccles picking up the disc on the Minnesota goal line. And that's going to be a quick score.
Of Minnesota wind chill ultimate for the past several years is just inconsistency between rosters and also just between play.
That's going to be a floating throw. Goes over the head of Spencer.
In a row, if they've gotten several breaks, then they'll take a timeout and still wish to put the O-line back out, but they've been transitioning their D-line out on O a lot more this season.
Donovan Triplett puts up a big throw. Henderson, second time I've made a mistake there.
Triplett cutting down field out of the backfield, looking for another deep ball.
And he finds Donovan Triplett, who puts up a huck. Kind of jump ball situation, and then Ryan Oscar doesn't even have to jump for it.
That was some nice defense by Heath Kalaba, forcing out into the wind. Unfortunately, the disc just doesn't float as.
Yeah, for sure. AlleyCats with a double team on the goal line here. Minnesota puts up a throw, towing the back line. They come down with the goal. Centering pass, and he's going to look to huck it on the first throw here.
That is a gorgeous huck.
Puts it up. Cameron Brock comes down with it just outside of the goal line here, and then Cameron Brock finds Levi Jacobs. They're calling fire now. You
Okay.
can hear the fire calls.
And that was great. Causes a little confusion for Minnesota. Gets them out of their set play. And then there you go.
There you go, Nick Lind.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Coach Leonard call a timeout here, though he's been more trusting in his D-line offense than usual this year.
Time running out here in the quarter. Alex Henderson tries to get it.
Just as I say that.
This will put the game back on serve.
After a shaky start, this would be a big momentum boost.
Cats looking. Put up a scoober. Alex Henderson.
Field and still out of bounds.
Minnesota going in what has been the more upwind direction this game. But they work it pretty easily. They escape that initial.
Adjust to the weather.
Layout gloves will definitely help. They help in all circumstances.
Looks like Greg Cousins could use a pair himself.
That's going to be a turnover on the goal line.
By the wind chill. That's probably also a game plan adjustment.
Minnesota just outside of the end zone. Able to work it back and forth, and they score. Going to show in the backfield for sure. Spencer Loscar with the disc. Puts it out in front of Cameron Brock, who's tripped up. And it looks like refs are going to call a foul there on the goal line.
Yeah, that's a pretty... He immediately looks to bounce it off the sideline. That's also something that the Cats have really been working on this season, trying to keep the disc in the middle of the field.
Samson with the disc, and he puts one up. Levi Jacobs able to cut. Connor Henderson and Donovan Triplett working the disc in the backfield. Got to get it out of their own end zone here. Nothing developing in the upfield space, and that's going to be a turnover.
Looks like just a miscommunication. Maybe this is going to be a momentum shift if Winchell can score this.
Just outside of the end zone. Minnesota with the disc. Wyatt Meckler. Easy around backhand.
Yeah, you'd expect Wild in weather like this.
Eventually it finds Keegan North, who puts it up to Travis Carpenter. Carpenter deep, just outside the end zone. With the disc. Cheeky little backhand is going to find Cameron.
And we see Travis on the D-line.
Peter Carlton gets the disc, and he's going to put up a big backhand huck. Looking for Kip Curtis. Bodies out Brian Vanuka, and Donovan Triplett with the disc, and he's going to turn it over right away.
Looks like Donovan needs a pair of layout gloves himself. And then Winchell punish right away.
Game of Ultimate.
No, not your typical AlleyCats offensive performance, but if it gets the job done at the end of the day,
Yeah, at the end of the day, AlleyCats are still up a point. Referees called that.
Definitely commendable, but unfortunate. Looks like the disc was floating out of bounds otherwise.
Yeah, just kind of casual for Minnesota. They get it on there. Travis Carpenter with the sliding catch. Puts one over the top. Levi Jacobs, one-handed grab.
That's a really...
Cameron Brock almost intercepted that.
Such a nice grab. And I think that was with his glove hand.
And we're back from halftime as the Indianapolis AlleyCats lead the Minnesota Winchell 11-10. AlleyCats really have to be happy with the way that first half ended up. Not a pretty first half in either direction, but AlleyCats come out on top, leading 11-10.
I think both teams are feeling quite fortunate to be in the game, but For you viewers at home, off to the right side of your screen in the end zone, the wind chill are running sprints across their end zone. I don't think they're very happy with how they performed in that first half. They're looking to come out hot in the second half. They're an athletic team. They're a gritty team. So I expect the defensive pressure to be amped up in the second half for them. So AlleyCats O-line needs to be prepared for that. Wind chill, they're definitely a team known for their gritty, tight, person-to-person defense. AlleyCats at times have succumbed to that pressure. O-lines seem tentative at times against that kind of pressure. So it's something that they've worked on in recent practices. So we'll see if the O-line can respond.
And it's important to remember for the AlleyCats, this is the first time we've seen this this O-line group together this year. So they're only going to get better as this game goes on. They're only going to get more chemistry as this game goes on. I think it's only upward for them.
Yeah, agreed. Kyle Cox handling this game, handled for the O-line last game, but he's primarily been playing defense all season. So, he's in good shape. He's a great thrower, one of AlleyCats, if not the best AlleyCats thrower. I think maybe Travis would have something to say about that. Keegan would have something to say about that. But, yeah, they're just getting better as the game goes on. And as they get more comfortable in these conditions. Again, that was the first half of Ultimate they've played in their hometown outdoors in several months.
Yeah, so we'll see how the second half goes. AlleyCats going to... are AlleyCats receiving to start the second half? Yes.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think AlleyCats would say that they prefer to start quarters and halves on defense, but I think the O-line is okay with starting half offensively, going downwind. They'll take it.
Yeah, going downwind, a chance to go up 2 points here. It's going to be a turnover. Kyle Cox puts a high release backhand. Not able to come down with it is Keegan North.
Yeah, that's a very Grand Park type of throw. Goes for the high break side backhand. Keegan almost came up with it, but just couldn't get there in time.
And Minnesota is going to give it right back after a few throws.
That wind is really whipping down there. You can see the sides of Wyatt Meckler's jersey just going crazy, and that flick into the wind just couldn't get the job done for him. And immediately Kyle Cox
puts up a backhand bomb, floating, trails out of bounds.
But, like we said before, if you're going to turn it over, you want to turn it over on the other end, especially going downwind on a night like tonight. I think Coach Eric Leonard is okay with that turnover. Not ecstatic, but just okay with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's my favorite college offense is the huck and play defense. So
that's D3 for you.
There you go.
Winchell with similar ideas.
Putting the disc up, and they come down with it.
Just put Spencer Loskar on his back.
Nick Vogt comes down with the big sky.
And that's a guy that wasn't here last week for the Winchell, so another player making an impact.
Cody Wood trying to throw and go. And then down the sideline, laser, Greg Cousins gets open for the score.
And that's tough. An upwind break to start the half for the Winchell. They were doing sprints in their own end zone prior to the second half, and it looks like they're fired up and ready to go. So AlleyCats need to respond.
Yeah, AlleyCats really had a chance to take control of that game, push it to a 2-point lead. They don't take advantage, though. That turnover is real costly.
Yeah, and that was a great huck from the coffin corner to get it downfield. Great catch by the receiver with Spencer on his back. Looks like we're going to see Alex Henderson get the nod for the O-line this point. So we'll see what he and Travis Carpenter can do in the backfield. A lot of chemistry there. Travis Carpenter coached Alex at Center Grove for at least a year, if not more. Alex, great poise for as young as he is. So we'll see what they can do.
Yeah.
Looks like Cox is going to start in the backfield at this point.
Immediately goes to Travis Carpenter, who peels out of the front of the stack. Puts it to the far sideline. Cameron Brock with the disc.
Cam looks off the under. I think that's a smart pass. Hits Spencer on the out.
Spencer Loskar has Travis going up the line against a bidding defender. That throw gets there. Oh, scary throw down the sideline with the backhand.
Travis needs to go over and give Keegan a handshake for that catch. That's a throw that Travis likes a lot. The force side, leading backhand for a strike, but just hung up in that wind, and Keegan just gets on his pogo stick and gets it.
Yeah, Keegan goes up and saves the stat line for Travis.
Buy that man a beer.
Maybe one from Surly, if we could, right?
Hey, that's the wind chill sponsor. Dial it down.
Hey, sponsoring us today.
Oh, that's fair. Our producer, I was texting with him prior to the game, and I asked him how biased I could be for the AlleyCats, and he said, well, try to be unbiased. And I was like, well, you know, I'm repping the AlleyCats. It is a home game. He's like, okay, well, we're a live stream. We just happen to be airing AlleyCats games. Like, okay, fair enough. Shout out to Surly, though, making some great beer.
Yeah, their Masters team came here. We hosted Masters Regionals, and they gifted me a few of their Surly beers. Great taste. Loved them each. Loved all of them.
Cheetah with a really nice inside break.
And then Brian Vanuka is going to put up the huck. Kip Curtis chasing it down. Kip Curtis bats it up into the air. Please smack it down next time or catch it.
He gets the D, and I think fortunate that disc didn't float up.
Donovan Triplett with the disc. Puts the inside break. That's the same throw you just complimented Cheetah on.
Yeah, going blow for blow. Triplett has really nice inside breaks, both backhand and forehand. Not surprised to see that from him.
Far sideline, Peter Carlton with the disc. Carlton and Triplett going to try and play catch for a second.
Looks like Triplett is winning that matchup. Cheetah can't stop him in the backfield, but Triplett had that great goal line stand.
There we go. Aaron Schwartz is going to find Alex Henderson in the end zone after a beautiful inside break throw. And that's going to be a break. AlleyCats taking control now.
That's really going to fire up the sideline for the AlleyCats. You see Jake Fellow over there getting Triplett a little butt smack. It's, AlleyCats really felt that when Fellow went down earlier in the season with a knee injury in a Pittsburgh home game. It was a home game for the AlleyCats. Pittsburgh came to town, and just an unfortunate play. But he's been a great sideline supporter, and he was voted captain this year, so he's still sticking around and amping up the sideline for the Cats.
Fella also picked up World's experience this year.
He did, yeah.
In Perth, and great experience. He was a standout player too.
Yeah, he really broke onto the scene during that tournament. A lot of people were talking about how well he played. Teammate of Wyatt Meckler, who's playing for the Windchill tonight, and gives the centering pass.
Deep throw. Cameron Brock playing defense.
Yeah, and I didn't realize, Cameron Brock getting the nod on the D-line. Looks like he's going to be crossing over some, maybe taking Rick Gross's place since he's out with a concussion this evening. In a game like this, you'd see Rick Gross crossing over quite often to the D-line, but Cameron Brock certainly capable in the deep space.
That was Cole Jurek. Trying to get he got a bit antsy, it looked like, trying to get a big sky over Cameron Brock, and misreads it, mistimes the jump.
Wow.
Turns back and forth.
Just a rash of turnovers here. Let's see if the AlleyCats D-line can calm things down and punch it in. Michael Ames, a steady offensive force for the AlleyCats. He's played O-line for a number of years.
That's going to be Peter Carlton putting it up. Launches it out of the back of the end zone.
I think that was John Wanger.
John Wanger, actually.
A powerful flick huck, and I know, it's easy to think it came from Carlton, but that was Wanger that time.
Yeah, that looked like a Carlton throw.
Yeah. Not a bad idea, just a little too low to the ground. Didn't sit up for the receiver. But now Minnesota has to march at 80 yards.
And Minnesota's going to put it right back up.
Yeah, and again, that's tough. You're forcing out with the wind chill going downwind. Maybe you want to force under in that scenario so that they're not even thinking about throwing up a deep ball.
Wyatt Meckler with the disc now. Puts it up the sideline to Cody Wood. Meckler gets it again. And that's going to be a foul on Michael Ames as he tries to swing wildly looking for a hand block. Knocks it out of the hand of Wyatt Meckler.
I like Ames' aggression. He needs to keep it up, but, play clean. Wow, White with a really nice inside break. And then just an easy flick turnover for the wind chill.
That's just the wind. Not playing right for the wind. Gets thrown right into the ground.
I wonder if Coach Eric Leonard might call a timeout pretty soon. A couple passes into this possession.
Colin Ringwood finds Cameron Brock, who extendo arms to get that in cut. John Wenger undercut a little bit. Not able to come up with it.
Coach Leonard waving his arms on the sideline, looking for a foul call. Nothing's given.
And that's 6 turnovers here on this point. Lots of turnovers.
This seems to be sort of a momentum shifting point for both teams, so whoever scores, I think, gets a little boost.
Like a power-up in video games, you know?
Exactly.
3 minutes into the point here.
Who's going to get the mushroom?
Minnesota just outside of the red zone. 15 yards to go.
That's a nice flat mark by Colin Ringwood, realizing that they're close to the end zone, preventing that strike throw.
Wyatt Meckler and Cody Wood playing some catch here.
If they're going to set that double team, they need to get around more in the dump space so they don't get that easy reset off.
It's going to be a foul on Heath Calaba on the mark. Inside of 10 yards to the end zone, so that's going to be reset on the goal line. Yep, just outside the goal line. Heath Calaba marking up on Wyatt Meckler. Cameron Brock guarding. That's going to be an offensive foul, I think.
Yeah, it looks like
Greg Cousins pushed off on Cameron Brock.
Yeah, pretty easy call to make. Heavy push off. Cameron Brock to the ground. Definitely not a Neymar flop. It was legit.
Cameron Brock playing tough defense there on Cousins.
And Heath just did not expect that throw and go from Meckler, and he gets burned on that up line.
Meckler pretty tricky on that up line.
Yeah, definitely a veteran player for Winchell. Knows where the open spaces are. Knows how to exploit them.
Here we go. Wyatt Meckler, Greg Cousins has to work real hard against Cameron Brock, and Wyatt Meckler just goes up the sideline. Sharp angle there. Never really cuts off the sideline at all.
Yeah. Just a smart player. That point lasted for just over 4 minutes.
Lots of turnovers back and forth there. Long point. We'll see how the AlleyCats O-line goes now.
Well, they certainly got a nice break on the sideline there, so.
Yeah, Cameron Brock putting in work here, though.
He's been hitting the treadmill. He has a lot of endurance.
Around back.
It's
Travis Carpenter puts it to the far sideline.
Pretty remarkable for Cameron to play consecutive points like this, considering just how exhausting it is to play on a field of this size. So I think that speaks a lot to his stamina.
Spencer Loskar going for the layout D, not able to get there.
Oh, and
Sam Sohn.
Just a great heads-up play by Sam. He was looking to get tighter on the reset and turned his head up just as the disc came out of the throw's hand. Gets an easy block.
Kyle Cox picking up the disc just inside of midfield.
Oh, and cheeky high release offhand backhand.
Lefty backhand for Kyle Cox. Finds Sam Sohn.
Just a little high for Levi there. Couldn't come down with it.
Minnesota puts it up right away. And that's going to float to the ground. Hangs up for a second. I thought the Minnesota offensive player was going to be able to have a chance at it.
Yeah, maybe if we were on the ground looking at that play, it wouldn't have seemed so close, but up here it looked like he would have gotten there. Fortunate for the AlleyCats.
Kyle Cox with the disc again. Keegan North going deep. Keegan getting it just outside of the red zone.
I love that throw from Kyle. He took a second to size it up, put some touch on it.
And then Keegan with a floaty throw. Perfect for Sam Sohn.
That's a great goal set up by the Cox hockey assist. He took his time with that huck, put it out on a shelf, nice touch, and then Keegan finishes the job. Sam Sohn coming from the backfield to finish off the point. That's just straight hustle. I think the AlleyCats, after that 4-minute point, have to be feeling pretty good about this quarter. Up by 2, end of the third. going into the fourth quarter, still with the lead. They basically led wire to wire. I'd be feeling good if I was Coach Eric Leonard at this point.
Yeah, 2-point lead here. You haven't played particularly well. You have to be pretty happy. Nick Hutton on the pull here. Going to hang up for quite a bit of time. That's going to be Josh Klein and Jason Cheetah in the backfield.
Looks like we see an early lane poach. Triplet's still looking for a lane poach, but playing tighter. And again, prevents that reset to Cheetah. Triplet's really giving him a hard time in the backfield. It's good to see.
That's going to be a low throw. Minnesota gets down on the ground. They're going to come up with that on the near sideline.
Looks like we have a switch. Peter Carlton on Cheetah now. Triplet downfield, guarding Eric Johnson.
Josh Klein with the disc, guarded by Alex Hutton. Around throw. Kip Curtis stops the bleeding, though. He gets there great.
Yeah. Ooh! And a close bid by Connor Henderson.
Henderson's really getting after it on defense here.
They're trying to one-up each other. A lot of switches going on for the AlleyCats defense. They're trying not to prevent the biggest threats.
There's another switch here. Switching on a lot of these up line cuts back and forth, and they get lost in the switches a little bit.
Yeah, and that's maybe one, like earlier in the game, maybe just one switch too many. And they just leave the four-side strike lane wide open and wind chill punish.
And here we go.
Yeah, Kip was looking for that switch off the throw and go, and no one was there to help him.
Yeah, just lost him off the switch.
Yeah.
Hand-me-down car. First used but new to you car. First actual new car. When things change, your insurance should too. Visit infarmbureau.com for a free quote or to find your local Indianapolis area agent. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood.
Well, I was saying Triplet guarding Eric Johnson for half of that point. Probably grew up. Triplet went to Center Grove. Was in high school when Eric Johnson, I think, was playing for Next Gen. So grew up watching him on the live stream. Wonder if he got his autograph at that point.
Oh, sneaky throw. Levi Jacobs and Kyle Cox playing catch.
Levi thinking his lucky stars.
Kind of catches everyone off guard with that throw. Centering around to the far sideline, Spencer Loskar with the disc.
Spencer with a nice backhand fake. Oof, and then overthrows Cameron Brock. That's hard to do.
Yeah, overthrows Cameron Brock.
Yeah, just a little hasty with that flick. Maybe he should look reset at that point. He's looked off one option, get it back to a handler.
Samson marking. Wyatt Meckler gets the disc. Short throw.
Winchell in a tough corner here.
Winchell really willing to work those tiny throws, those like 2 and 3 yard cheeky throws.
And they have the ability to. I mean, they have some top level throwers in Klein and Meckler and Cheetah. They certainly are capable, but they're taking a lot of risks with these deep shots, and they're not paying off for them.
Yeah, the deep shot hasn't really worked for Minnesota much all game. Travis Carpenter taking off deep. Kyle Cox with the disc. He puts it around. Spencer Loskar in the center of the field.
That's a good no throw by Spencer. He saw the Winchell defender poaching off the back of the stack, and then Levi gets the long under.
Puts it up deep, looking for Cameron Brock, who gets it just outside of the end zone. Trailing Keegan North.
That's Levi's favorite throw, the Huck blade.
Kyle Cox waits for it, gets up and gets it. Cox looking for the deep strike. Keegan North puts it around. Good thing he finds Cameron Brock over there. Brock puts it to the end zone. Travis Carpenter toes the line, and he's in.
That's just a standard play for Travis these days. Disc is floating out of bounds. That's essentially going directly downwind. Cameron's backhand, and Travis just chases it down. You'll ask Travis, and he has a lot of thoughts going through his head as he's chasing a disc down, and a lot of times he'll tell you he prefers to lay out versus running out a disc, depending on where it is or in what proximity. He maybe could have run that disc out, but a lot of times he prefers to lay out just to kind of save the legs and prevent an awkward landing.
Yeah, and as a college teammate of Travis, I've probably seen that exact play made 50 to 100 times.
Hundreds. I would argue hundreds. 5 to 10 layouts per game. And how many games have you played together?
Hundreds. Hundreds. 8 tournaments a year for 4 years.
Not to mention unsanctioned scrimmages, practices.
I was on the summer league every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in Travis's first couple seasons with the AlleyCats, he was playing D-line, and his layout to block conversion may have been 20%. 5 layouts to one block. Yeah. These days it's a little higher, but he had a lot of misses early in his career, and they certainly paid off for him.
Time running out here. Just 7 seconds to go in the quarter. Put up, and Travis layout doesn't quite block it, but he does enough.
He does enough, yeah. And I think Aaron Schwartz got the D on that, but Travis certainly helped put some pressure on the thrower.
If you could get an assist on a D, Travis Carpenter just did it.
Hockey D, that's right.
Hockey D. With the end of the third quarter, we'll take a quick break. You're watching the Minnesota Windchill versus the Indianapolis AlleyCats on UniversePointProductions.com, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's broadcast is presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Find your local Marion County agent at infarmbureau.com. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood. Today's broadcast is also brought to you in part by Serling Brewing Company, a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Enjoy responsibly. Get Surly. Incrediplex, an Indianapolis-based 4-acre world-class indoor sports, entertainment, and events center. Layout Ultimate, the most durable ultimate gloves. Layout Ultimate, what the pros wear. And the Indianapolis AlleyCats.
You must be crazy to live here. It's too cold. You go outside in this? Why don't your gloves have fingers? We get these questions a lot. We ask them ourselves when the engine won't turn over or when the dogs won't even go outside. But the fact is, we don't just like it here, we love it here. The weather spends 6 months trying to straight up kill us, but we don't care. You find a rink or a trail or a sledding hill. Put on another layer. It'll be fun. We can hit the meat raffle after. Our beer is made for this. Surly, brewed for the North.
With 4 acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is Indianapolis' destination spot for sports, entertainment, and events. Whether it is a day of fun with the kids in the arcade, getting a workout in the fitness center, or getting competitive on our basketball courts, Incrediplex is the place to be. Visit online at Incrediplex.com today to start planning your trip. And we're back here at the start of the fourth quarter. Indianapolis AlleyCats grew the lead to 2 points in the third quarter. They lead 15-13, starting on defense, pulling to the Minnesota Windchill.
Like I said earlier, I think the AlleyCats prefer to start quarters and halves on defense, so they're excited to pull this disc and play some aggressive defense on this Windchill O-line. Windchill were getting hyped on the sideline before the start of this quarter. I don't think they're happy about being down. They're not used to being down to the AlleyCats, so we'll see what they do this quarter.
Josh Klein centers the disc to Jason Cheetah. Cheetah with the disc. Cheetah and Klein playing a little bit of back and forth.
Cheetah's a player that's certainly capable of going every other for the Windchill.
Brian Vanuka puts up the huck. It's going to hang for a while.
Man, Wyatt Meckler putting on the Jets.
Showing some persistence, chasing that down.
And Meckler with some poise. Josh Klein finishes the job. That was an all-handler point for the Windchill. No cutters needed.
That disc hung in the air for so long. Meckler just persistent, chasing it down. Staying after the disc. Patient on the end zone line. Finds Josh Klein running up the field.
As much as I hate to say it, it's good to see Josh Klein healthy for the majority, if not all of the season. I haven't watched all of the games this year, but I know in seasons past he's dealt with odd injuries, and he looks really healthy and capable tonight. So I think the Winchell are very glad to have him.
Yeah, Josh Klain has been a standout player for a long time, and when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the country. While at Minnesota, he was a Callahan nominee, University of Minnesota, and now he's here, contributing very highly for the Winchell.
Yeah.
I know last week at Grand Park, he was almost unstoppable.
Yeah, definitely making a difference for them.
Travis Carpenter puts an inside break to Levi Jacobs.
Ooh, Levi gets bailed out by Cameron Brock with a heads-up in cut off the huck.
Cameron Brock puts it up for Spencer Lascar.
That's exactly what the AlleyCats needed. Just a 1-2-3 march down the field for an easy goal. Well, not too easy, but quick at the very least.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. Yeah, I think Levi will be buying Cameron a beer at the end of this game.
Cameron Brock, yeah.
Cam's not one to drink though, so maybe a pop, maybe a soda.
Maybe that beer will get donated to a lovely commentator.
Such as yourself.
I wouldn't mind.
I could use a beer too, you know.
We'll see.
Surly, do you deliver? How about Express?
I'll be in Minnesota in a few weeks for the U.S. Open. Maybe I take an adventure to Surly.
All right, you're on. It's a deal.
There we go.
It's a date.
There we go.
Great. Surly, hook us up. We'll be there.
AlleyCats with a pull.
Nice pull. High, floats. Enough time for the Cats to get down on defense.
Josh Klain centers it to Jason Cheetah.
Alex Henderson playing some decent reset defense on Josh Klain. Not an easy guy to guard in the backfield.
What a great experience to guard a top-level player like Josh Klain. Nick Hutton just standing there. Eric Johnson reaches around him and draws the foul.
Nick Hutton probably arguing that he was stationary on that mark and the thrower was fishing for a foul. Might have a decent argument, but it's the ref's call.
Definitely fishing, but still probably a foul.
Don't give him too much credit.
Josh Klain works it up the sideline.
The Cheetah triplet matchup once again. Cheetah gets the better of triplet on that inside break.
Looking around, Kip Curtis trying to cut off the break side lane.
Alex Henderson with some good reset defense.
They put up a floaty one.
Oof.
Jason Cheetah comes down with it. Floaty, high release, forehand on a high stall count. Bails out the Minnesota offense.
Yeah, good play by Cheetah. Good pressure by Donovan. Just he was close. He was in position to get a block, but it's an offensive game on an offensive field, and that's what happens.
Yeah, great pressure defense from Triplet, without fouling, without making any kind of contact. Way to be clean.
Yeah,
that's great defense. This is about as good a defense as you can play.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest plays in Ultimate is playing defense, going for a block on a guy's back without contacting the offensive player. Whether you get the block or not, if you're close, I say kudos to you. That's a very difficult play to make, and you can see there that they slapped hands after the point. They respect each other's game, and I think Donovan made a good play there.
They've been going at it all game.
Yeah, I think that's the hottest matchup of the game. Cheetah and Triplet.
Kyle Cox, Levi Jacobs on the near sideline.
I really like how poised Levi is this game. He typically shoots a lot of discs deep for the O-line, but he's been holstering the trigger tonight, which I like.
Spencer Lascar puts one across the field. Keegan North with a big sky to save the offensive point. Centers to Kyle Cox. Travis Carpenter runs one down after it swirls around him.
Cats are already spreading the field. Cameron Brock again with a heads-up play.
Lots of loopy throws. Cameron Brock comes down with it. Finds Levi Jacobs in the end zone. That's going to be a goal for the AlleyCats. 17-15. AlleyCats lead. Under 10 minutes to go here in the game.
Cam is going to have a lifetime supply of soda by the end of this game. He's just coming down with all of the bailout catches.
Cameron Brock, 4 assists today from your AUDL goal scoring machine.
I mean, with Keenan and Rick Gross both out tonight, I would expect nothing less.
Cameron stepping it up. Levi Jacobs stepping it up. Levi Jacobs, 3 goals, 1 assist. Sam Sohn, surprisingly, too. Kind of quiet game. 3 goals.
Yeah. Sam Sohn is oftentimes more of a distributive player on the O-line, but again, everyone's having to step up on the offensive line because a few players are out and getting the job done.
And that's going to be an overthrow by Minnesota. AlleyCats going to take over near midfield.
This might seal the game if AlleyCats can punch it in. They're up 2. This would be 3.
Windy
See if Ames
game.
can get it off the sideline.
Yeah, points are late, taking a long time. This could be a huge point.
Looks like Eric is going over to a ref. He might call a timeout.
John Winger with the disc. Puts up a hammer.
That's a gutsy throw.
Colton Steiner.
Ooh.
And then another gutsy throw.
I think Leonard over there is regretting not calling a timeout. Saw him jump up and down, clap his hands. I think he wished he would have. We'll see if the Cats can get it back here.
Minnesota working the disc down the field now.
Nobody downfield. Oscar gets it with no continuation.
Double team there. Osgar gets low.
I like that double team, but they have to expect a kind of throw like that from Oscar.
Just such a tricky thrower. Gets low. Puts it between 2 defenders. What a good time.
Wyatt just running every other.
Meckler with the disc. Centers to Josh Klain. Klain looking for someone. Finds Osgar in the backfield.
Cats need to be careful of these inside breaks.
Inside breaks are what have been killing them today. And that's a hand block.
Wow, it looks clean.
Wow, a moment of confusion for a second as he realizes
And
he just got stopped with a hand block.
And Coach Eric Leonard doesn't make the same mistake twice, immediately calls a timeout. I like that call. You trust your O-line. O-line's been playing great all season. March them in there to get a break. Go up 3. Let's see.
Surly Brewing Company is a Minnesota-based craft brewery. Noted for their highly rated and well-reviewed beers, Surly offers over-the-top flavors and body, which comes from high-quality, unique raw materials, not filtering, and astonishingly careful beer processing. Find out more at surlybrewing.com. Enjoy reasonably. Get Surly. All right, AlleyCats, after calling timeout, they'll take over with the disc. Throwing that O-line out on the field. Sam Sohn, Keegan North, Cameron Brock, Travis Carpenter, Spencer Loskar, Kyle Cox, and who else? We have a mystery 7th out there. Who's it going to be? Levi Jacobs.
Levi hiding behind Keegan. Keegan's got that hat on with the man bun and the hoodie. He's very accessorized this evening.
Just blocking everyone off. I think that hoodie is definitely Keegan's thing, though.
Oh, yeah, every game. I remember, and the hat as well, though. The refs gave him some trouble for wearing that type of hat at one of the Grand Park games, and we struggled to find him a different hat that he liked. Didn't end up doing it. Surprised Minnesota's coming out here in straight person. I would have come out in some kind of junk to eliminate the set play.
Levi Jacobs bobbles it, but then chases it down and finds Spencer Loskar in the end zone.
And,
just like you said, the set play strikes quickly.
Yeah. The AlleyCats offensive line this season has been lethal in isolation. They love their set plays. I'm surprised Minnesota didn't come out in a double team or a bracket, and they get punished for it.
Levi Jacobs catches it down the sideline after the bobble, puts it up to Spencer Loskar, and that is a goal for your Indianapolis AlleyCats. 18-15.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a tough it's a tall order for the wind chill to come back from 3 down midway through the 4th. AlleyCats have to be loving this position. They're not used to being up in the 4th against the wind chill. They're aside from their Grand Park home game win, the last game of the regular season last week, the AlleyCats have not beaten the wind chill since 2014.
Yeah, it has been a while, and now they're in a solid position to notch 2 in a row. Donovan Triplett matching up on Jason Cheetah. That's the matchup to watch here. Josh Klain with the disc, soft double team. Really, if you're going to go with this double team at all, though, I think you have to do it harder. I don't know that it's really worth much to just kind of sit there and softly double team.
Looks like maybe this is intentional just to burn some clock. If so, I like it.
We've had a couple switches downfield. Looks like we're bracketing the undercuts, and Kip Curtis is managing the deep space.
Look at Connor Henderson playing all the unders. One gets through finally after they flood a bit.
Kip's doing a nice job of keeping track of the deep guy.
Alex Henderson marking down the sideline.
And there he goes.
And
Great.
that's going to be a throwaway. Kip Curtis picking up another D.
He continues to impress me. All season long, he's gotten better and better with more time and experience on the team. He's going to be a great player for years to come.
Think about that IU team going forward. Alex Henderson coming in, Connor Henderson, Kip Curtis.
Yeah, I'm really scared for the rest of the Midwest. All those Illinois powerhouses, they need to be concerned about Indiana University for the coming years.
Connor Henderson gets the disc deep.
It's a 5-on-1 breakaway here for the Cats.
Heath Calaba with the disc. Calaba puts it to Connor Henderson, who scores.
I'm going to call it here. That's the nail in the coffin for the wind chill, and I think the Cats know it. That's a huge momentum shift. That's a backbreaker for the wind chill. The offensive line comes off for the wind chill with their heads down. Cheetah's not happy about that. Cats are chanting yes.
Minnesota takes a timeout here. Trying to recover, maybe make one last push, but that 5-on-1 doesn't look good. That looks like a lack of energy from a team if you've ever seen one.
Yeah, definitely wind chill on their heels here in the fourth quarter.
Birthdays? No problem. Corporate outings? We do that too. With 4 incredible acres of indoor space, Incrediplex is the indie destination for sports, entertainment, and events. Bring your group to Incrediplex for a day of fun. With a full arcade, bar, basketball courts, turf, and more, Incrediplex is the place for kids both big and small. Visit Incrediplex online at incrediplex.com today to start planning your next day of play. We're back. The AlleyCats getting ready to pull after this Minnesota timeout. What does Minnesota have to do to try and get back in this game, Joey?
I think they need to ramp up the defense. That's the driving force behind this wind chill team, and it has been for several seasons. It's always been something that the AlleyCats have struggled with when the wind chill defense is ramped up to 100. The offensive line for the AlleyCats has really struggled to get open, to initiate plays downfield. So if the wind chill are going to come back, of course they need to get breaks, and it's going to start with really tight marks and great downfield pressure. They're certainly capable. They have the athleticism, they have the speed, but at this point in the game, midway through the fourth, down 4, do they have the heart? Do they have the will? They're not used to being down to an AlleyCats team like this.
Yeah, and for the AlleyCats, you just want to keep up this defensive pressure. Just want to keep time running.
I've played with the AlleyCats since the team's inception in 2012. I've certainly been a part of a lot of heartbreaking losses, a lot of one-point losses, especially to the wind chill. In the team's history, I believe there have been 5 total one-point losses to the wind chill. The total point differential for the AlleyCats versus the wind chill over the history of the two teams matching up is -3.
Yeah, such a close spread overall.
Yeah. Many of these games decided by 1, 2, 3 points. It's always a close matchup with these two teams.
Very rarely do these games end up in blowouts. Double team here on the sideline. That's a tight pressure double team. That's what I've been wanting to see out of the AlleyCats all game. Minnesota puts up a hammer that ends up finding Josh Klain, but that was a tough throw to make. Minnesota on the near sideline.
That's another great double team. Good choice.
Peels off of it quickly and goes and gets the strike cut. Yeah, that was a great double team. Great defensive sequence here for the AlleyCats, forcing a lot of throws.
I like that strike switch. Good heads-up play by Ames and Colin Ringwood.
We've seen a lot of that strike switch all game.
Yeah, the AlleyCats have definitely practiced that a bit, and I think it's paying off for them this game.
Peter Carlton not able to really provide much pressure on that D, and Brian Vanuka gets in on the assist from Ryan Oscar. Vanuka toes the line.
Oscar tried his hardest to throw that disc into the ground, but Vanuka had other ideas.
It almost trailed into the ground as Vanuka was trying very hard. Watch Vanuka. He's trying so hard to toe this line. Almost lets it drop to the ground.
And with 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in the game, Windchiller down 3. AlleyCats still feeling good. Offensive line starting upwind, going downwind. Just looking for a nice, easy hold. If they can burn a little clock, that's fine, but a score is more important.
Yeah, I think that, you're just 1 or 2 scores away from, as the Cats, you're 1 or 2 scores away from really locking this game up. Time's going to run out slowly but surely. Just keep playing the way we've been playing all game.
It's a pretty nice pull by the Windchill. Maybe the disc died down a little bit, or the wind died down.
Yeah, Travis Carpenter fields it, centers to Kyle Cox. Cox with the disc, looking to put up a huck to Keegan North.
Oof.
Just out of reach. And that's not what you want here.
No, Keegan certainly had steps and indoors. Maybe that's completion, but wind whipped it a little bit, and when you're trying to possess the game away, that's maybe not the look you want to take.
Yeah, first throw huck.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a turnover right back from Minnesota. Struggling to get much going in this wind here in the second half.
This continues to be just kind of a sloppy back and forth game, and AlleyCats so far have, won out.
I wish we were trying to keep track of turnovers this game. There's been a lot. There's another one. That's going to be a drop by Spencer Loskar.
Commentators jinx.
Third turnover at the point. Minnesota picking it up.
Well, if the O-line's goal was to burn clock, I think they have been successful so far.
Yeah, burning off a minute now of that clock. Kyle Cox, great pressure defense. Makes Wyatt Meckler work hard. Tough catch. Going up the sideline.
Windchill once again proving capable of getting those very close proximity resets.
Minnesota scores. They're not done yet.
No, that'll fire up the sideline a little for Minnesota. Cats will take a deep breath, long walk back to the opposite end zone. Looks like we're going to have a couple guys sub on to the O-line. Donovan Triplett, who's been doing work on the D-line all night long. You're going to see Alex Henderson as well sub on.
Cody Wood picks up that assist. That offensive possession killed about 1 minute and 16 seconds for the AlleyCats. Time running down. You really don't want to just sit on the disc here. You still got to add a point or two. Minnesota can strike quickly.
And this is sort of a tough spot for the AlleyCats. They're only up 2, and the Windchill are pulling downwind.
And that's a great pull. That's going to put Donovan Triplett a few yards deep into the end zone. Travis Carpenter gets the disc on the centering pass. Cats. Keegan North comes up with it against a bidding defender.
That's that Windchill pressure that I talked about.
Puts one deep for Cameron Brock, who's unable to come up with it. Just can't put it that far in the upwind. Cody Wood picking up the disc, guarded by Donovan Triplett. Centering pass, Nick Hutton on D. Hutton poaching the lane. Gets back.
AlleyCats are making them work a little bit, playing over top their guys. Just as I say that, though, then Spencer lets a receiver go deep.
Minnesota with the disc deep. Nearing their own red zone. Number 4, Greg Cousins with the disc. Puts one over to Tom Eccles. Eccles guarded by Travis Carpenter. Oof. Carpenter not able to get it. And Eccles with the layout grab. Stunning grab there by Eccles, playing against Travis Carpenter.
Somewhat of a college rivalry. When I was coaching at Indiana Wesleyan, Travis and you were playing, and we played. Thomas Eccles was the primary handler for an LSU team. Where were we? What was that tournament we matched up with them?
That was at, oh man.
Was that in Alabama?
It was in Alabama. It was on the University of Alabama campus in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. We played against them the following fall, though, at Gulf Coast Warm-Up.
Okay.
Yeah. So we played at them. T-Town Throwdown.
Okay. Yep.
Was the name of that tournament.
That was it. Yep.
Yeah, T-Town Throwdown. IWU versus LSU. We might have played them twice that weekend.
Yeah, possibly.
3 straight points for the Windchill here.
Yeah, back to the action. Windchill are really putting on a late-game performance here. They've ratcheted up the defense, showing some pressure, increased pressure.
Kyle Cox with the disc. Resets to Travis Carpenter. Carpenter looking up the sideline. Finds Cameron Brock.
Seems like the Cats took a deep breath between points and they've calmed things down a little bit, which is a good sign.
A lot of pressure here from Minnesota. Renewed energy. That's a layout. And that's going to be a foul call.
Oh, may have gotten Levi Jacobs' arm as he went for that disc. It was a little behind him. Not the most accurate throw from Connor Henderson, but I think a good foul call. It was close.
Levi Jacobs with the disc. Travis Carpenter, beautiful cut, opens up space. Fakes the hammer. Puts one up line. Aaron Schwartz comes down with it.
That's a gutsy throw. It was good that Travis faked the hammer. He was just looking for someone to bite on it, but then a gutsy throw. Long leader. The Winchell player was calling for a Travis travel, but could not persuade the ref. And
Could not persuade him, yeah.
No. Cats go back up by 2.
Cats really needed that point. Minnesota in the middle of a run, 3 straight. That's going to shut it down. Hopefully that shuts down a little bit of the Minnesota energy.
Yeah, it's still a game. We're not out of the pet store yet.
Nick Hutton, rolling pull.
That's a solid pull from Nick. They're going to try to set a double team.
Yep, Schwartz and Triplet going to be here on the double team.
Alex is trying to... see, you're going to set a double team, but then you can't...
But then you let off the easy throw.
Yeah, you have to play tighter on that reset handler.
Donovan Triplet on the near sideline playing defense.
We have Eric Johnson on this offensive point for the Winchell.
Minnesota throws it just in the middle. Someone's able to come up with it.
Aaron
in the
Schwartz
pile.
in isolation.
Heath Kalaba running hard on defense. Looking for the switch. Not quite. Jason Cheetah around Heath Kalaba with the hand block, but a foul is called.
Ooh. Heath is fired up this point. Playing tight defense, almost gets the hand block.
Look at the size advantage he has against Cheetah.
Yeah, several inches. But we'll see if that plays a difference in small ball, small field, change of direction.
There we go. Isolated in space. Brian Vanuka scores on the throw from Jason Cheetah. Amped up for sure.
Took a little time off the clock. Winchell going downwind.
AlleyCats going downwind when they receive this one. It's going to be a game of downwinds for AlleyCats. Just got to keep converting.
Yep. The AlleyCats in recent games have done a better job of wasting clock late game. So let's see if we see a few more swing passes and reset throws for the offensive line, especially going downwind.
Yeah, you just got to be careful, though. Sometimes you get too focused on wasting time, and you just forget about running the offense. And that's going to lead to a silly turnover here and there.
I think Cameron Brock will keep them honest downfield.
Travis Carpenter is going to field this pull. Looks like the wind died down a bit, and they get a pretty good pull into the end zone. Kyle Cox, lefty backhand,
Cheeky.
in the wind.
Gutsy.
Scary throw there, yeah. Levi Jacobs finds Keegan North in the middle of the field.
Cox wide open poached. Oof.
Oh, and that hits Spencer Loskar in the hands, and he's not able to come down with it.
And this is for the tie if Winchell can punch it in.
Each team still with one timeout. Just a minute 20 here to go in the fourth quarter. Keegan North marking.
Oh, and this is
It's
Travis going up. This is his bread and butter.
Travis Carpenter gets the D. Big time D by Travis Carpenter.
The fans are pumped up.
Really big play there. Saving the game from being tied. Kyle Cox going to pick it up on the goal line.
And there's under a minute left. Clock is still running.
Clock running, under a minute to go. Kyle Cox with the disc.
Doesn't see Levi on the inside. Woo!
Ooh,
almost gets blocked.
huge
Hits him on the
bid
up
by
line. And
the
then
Minnesota
Levi with a
defender.
massive backhand.
Putting it up for Samson.
And that's not what you needed for the AlleyCats. Winchell may call a timeout.
Eccles running, trying to run the offense here.
AlleyCats need to find their people.
Eccles puts up a huck. Spencer Loskar going.
You got Keegan in the area.
Keegan North as well. That's going to be a D by Keegan North. 20 seconds to go. Time running out.
Very fortunate.
Cal Cox standing over the disc,
No foul
letting
calls.
time run.
He's eyeing that clock.
10 seconds to go.
Gotta watch out for that double team.
That's going to be a foul on Minnesota.
Keegan draws the foul.
Under 7 seconds to go. Keegan North with the disc.
And the Oscar goes to
6 seconds to go here after the refs reset the clock.
the Cats just need one completed pass, and that'll seal the game.
Maybe just put one up as floaty as you can towards the end zone.
Oof.
And let it float for 6 seconds. That's going to be a
Cameron
blade.
Brock gets the
Cameron
disc.
Brock gets the disc, and he's going to sit on it. AlleyCats hold on to win the game.
Their first home playoff win since 2012.
Indianapolis AlleyCats advance to the Midwest Championship to face the Madison Radicals.
They'll travel up to Madison next weekend, and they are fired up tonight.
Fired up. Missing Rick Gross, missing Keenan Plew, two of your offensive stalwarts. We have a bunch of players step up and make valid contributions. Cameron Brock comes out with 4 assists. Travis Carpenter, 3 assists, 2 Ds. Perhaps the play of the game on the D, on the shot to the end zone to stop the game from being tied. He picks up a goal as well. Donovan Triplett, huge defense on Jason Cheetah all game.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan had great production. It looks like 2 Ds, 1 assist, 2 goals, but more importantly, I think really prevented a lot of easy resets for Cheetah. Also, another massive game for Kip Curtis, comes away with 3 Ds and 2 goals. Just continuing to impress this season.
Yeah, lots of great standout players. Great game from the AlleyCats overall. You've got to be happy. It was a bit sloppy at first, but they come out on top, 20-19. They go 2-1 against Minnesota this year.
Yeah, not something they're used to. So
Yeah.
happy to win the series in 2018 against the Windchill.
Yeah.
And now next week they play Madison at home. Madison is used to winning in their home stadium, and I expect them to be fully rostered. Everyone healthy, everyone strong. They're going to have the Brown brothers most likely. You know, they'll probably have Riggles. They'll have all their O-line stalwarts, the Colin Camps. It's going to be a tough team. It's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, tough team for sure.
Yeah.
This is going to be our final broadcast of the season here at Universe Point Productions.
You're bringing a tear to my eye.
Thank you to everyone who's watched all year. Thank you to everyone who tuned in throughout the game today. Thank you to all of our sponsors throughout the year. Everyone who's helped out, everyone who's been a part of the AlleyCats community. Very thankful for all of you.
I would argue that this has been the most successful season in AlleyCats history, although we did make the championship game in 2012. But this has been a miracle season of sorts.
Yeah.
What are we, 12 and 3?
12-3 now. All right.
I wonder what Evan Lepler will have to say about us now.
One last time, we'd like to thank all the viewers. You've been watching the Minnesota Windchill versus the Indianapolis AlleyCats on UniversePointProductions.com, presented by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance.